There's one island that has like this crazy hole in the ground that was made by pirates. There's a television show about it. You know what I'm talking about?
The Curse of Oak Island.
And they have some crazy hole in the ground that they're trying to figure out how to get into, but there's all these weird little
booby traps and like all this crazy stuff.
The legend of Oak Island is an eternal tale of buried riches, pitfalls, and wonder. A twist that distinguishes it from other treasure hunts, though, is the disclosure of the treasure's location. Despite the knowledge of the location, all efforts to extract this treasure have been to no avail. Hence, the treasure has been found, but not retrieved. Joe Rogan recently revealed some truths about this mystery. What did Joe Rogan say? What does it mean for the future of the treasure hunt? Join us as we unveil the shocking truth that Joe Rogan has exposed about Oak Island. Oak Island legend. The Oak Island legend speaks of a 200-year-old treasure that has been buried on the island for centuries. Uncountable attempts have been made, theories created, and lives lost in the quest for this bounty. Notable figures like Franklin D. Roosevelt, Errol Flynn, and John Wayne have tried solving the mystery, but to no avail. This treasure is no ordinary hoard of riches. It's said to contain treasures once owned by Marie Antoinette, religious royalty, and the bard himself, William Shakespeare. It is also believed that it is Captain Kidd's lost treasure. The pursuit of the treasure has captivated explorers for generations, but the journey to uncover it is risky. Hidden surprises and lethal pitfalls litter the island, searching for the treasure more challenging than anyone could imagine. Over the years, many seekers have risked everything in their pursuit of the elusive treasure, not only their wealth, but also their lives. The Money Pit. In 1796, Daniel McGinnis, a young boy, noticed an unusual circular depression on the island's grounds. Intrigued by the tales of buried treasure, he and his friends began digging, uncovering flagstone 2 feet below the surface, which fueled their desire to continue. As Daniel and his friends were digging, they noticed something strange. The walls of the pit they were excavating were lined with old pick and shovel marks. It was clear that the pit had been dug and filled long ago, but they could not figure out who did it. Since Oak Island is a small and remote place, there seemed to be no logical reason for anyone to dig such a deep and extensive pit, unless they were trying to hide something valuable at the bottom of it. Then, the search for Captain Kidd's lost treasure began. However, after digging a massive 10-meter deep hole, equivalent to the height of a 3-story building, there was still no sign of the loot. Unfortunately, the diggers didn't have the necessary time, tools, or manpower to continue digging any deeper, so they abandoned the massive hole in the ground, which became known as the Money Pit. 10 years passed before another group returned to Oak Island to resume their search for where Daniel and his companions left off. After the discovery of the Money Pit, the story of Oak Island's buried treasure spread like wildfire, attracting treasure hunters from far and wide. The Onslow Company. The Onslow Company, who arrived in 1806 armed with pickaxes and shovels to continue the excavation, was one such group. They hit layers of oak logs every 10 feet, and as they dug deeper, they discovered other strange layers of pudding charcoal and coconut fiber. It was glaring that someone had gone to great lengths to hide whatever was buried there. Eventually, they hit something solid. But when they pulled out a stone tablet with an inscription, the tunnel filled with water and flooded all around them. The Onslow Company struggled to stop the flooding, but it was futile. The members of the Onslow Company were clueless about who was responsible for the flooding and why it happened. The team eventually gave up on their search, as the tunnel would fill up with water again during every high tide. Although the treasure was not found, discovering the stone tablet was considered a significant discovery, and the Onslow Company decided to stop their efforts shortly after leaving the island. After this discovery of the stone tablet, a Halifax professor was able to translate the writing on it, revealing an exciting clue to the treasure's whereabouts. The inscription read, 40 feet below 2 million pounds buried. But the mystery of Oak Island's treasure didn't end there. According to legend, 7 people would have to die before the true treasure could be found. To date, 6 have lost their lives in quest of the elusive bounty. Although some are skeptical of this legend, it hasn't stopped people from searching for the treasure. The buried treasure. There are many theories about what might be buried on Oak Island. Some believe that the island holds the lost manuscripts and earnings of William Shakespeare, or perhaps Francis Bacon, while others believe that Marie Antoinette stashed her riches there during the French Revolution. If both stories are true, the treasure on Oak Island would be worth a king's ransom. Some sailors also believe that famous pirates like Captain Kidd or Captain Blackbeard could be responsible for the treasure trove. In addition, there is the Freemason theory, which holds that Masonic imagery on the island points to a buried treasure belonging to the secret society. The Curse of Oak Island. In 1849, a determined company from Toronto arrived on Oak Island to continue the search for this elusive treasure after 50 long years. The Toronto company attempted to dig up the previously excavated pits, but was left disappointed when the pits flooded with water once again. However, unlike their predecessors, the Toronto team noticed something strange. The water was slightly salty and seemed to ebb and flow with the tide. This discovery served as a major clue in the hunt for the money pit. After scouring the island, the team found the entrance to a narrow channel leading underground towards the treasure. This was the first sign of the several mysterious and strange obstacles that lay ahead for the treasure hunters. Despite their tireless efforts, the booby-trapped flood system proved to be an unconquerable obstacle for the Toronto company in their quest for the treasure. Although it was certified that the pit on Oak Island held something of immense value, the complex challenges surrounding it made reaching the bottom almost impossible. Despite their tireless efforts, the Toronto group's attempts to approach the pit from multiple angles were met with flooding and unexpected collapses, forcing them to also abandon their pursuit of the treasure and leave Oak Island behind. For more than 170 years, adventurers and treasure seekers have flocked to the shores of Oak Island, lured by the promise of the fabled wealth that is believed to be hidden in the depths of the money pit. Some have tried to outsmart the clever flood tunnel booby traps, while others have risked their lives digging shafts across the island, giving rise to eerie tales of a malevolent curse. Despite technological advances, such as the introduction of steam pumps in the 1860s and divers in 1909, the recurring threat of floods has always managed to hinder the efforts of treasure hunters. In 1909, the Old Gold Salvage Group, who brought sophisticated equipment and divers to the island, ultimately failed to overcome the curse of Oak Island and returned home empty-handed. Joe Rogan on Oak Island. It's interesting to note that Franklin Delano Roosevelt, who later became the President of the United States, was part of the Old Gold Salvage Group and was rumored to remain intrigued by the Oak Island mystery for the rest of his life. Hollywood icons such as Errol Flynn and John Wayne also backed several expeditions financially. In the 1930s, 2 treasure hunters were supposedly instructed to report their discoveries directly to King George VI of England. Despite all of the attempts, the treasures hidden on Oak Island are yet to be uncovered. However, Joe Rogan, the popular podcast host, has also recently shared some intriguing insights about the mystery surrounding Oak Island. According to Rogan, the island's history is peppered with instances of people going broke in their quest to uncover the treasure. He further said that treasure hunters have encountered various traps and obstacles, making it a highly dangerous and challenging undertaking. Moreover, some have lost their lives in the pursuit of this mysterious fortune. The booby traps and other obstacles are said to be incredibly complicated, and there is a belief that the people who buried the treasure were so clever that they devised a way to make it impossible for anyone to get their hands on it. However, as Rogan suggests, it is also possible that those who buried the treasure might have made a mistake in their efforts to keep it hidden. He further said that one of the most curious aspects of this legend is the fact that the treasure is believed to be so valuable that the island ownership has changed hands several times throughout history. In addition, hunting for this buried treasure has become so popular that the History Channel has created a show about the island. The show is called The Curse of Oak Island, and the show documents a group of explorers trying to get their hands on those riches. At the heart of the show are the Lagina brothers, who have been on the hunt for the island's treasure since 1965. It all began with Rick Lagina's fascination with Oak Island after reading an article in Reader's Digest. The Legend of the Treasure. Little did he know that this article would change the course of his life forever. As soon as he and his brother were old enough, they began their search, driven by the hope of discovering the hidden treasure. Rick's passion for treasure hunting started at a young age. At just 10 years old, he led his brother and friends on a hunt for treasure underneath a huge boulder. Although they came up empty-handed, the thrill of the hunt ignited a fire within Rick that would never go out. From that day on, he knew that he was destined to be a treasure hunter. The Lagina brothers have had their fair share of discoveries while hunting for treasure on Oak Island, unearthing a plethora of fascinating items like old coins, military gear, and jewelry. Despite their best efforts, Captain Kidd's prized treasure has yet to be found, leaving one to wonder if it ever existed. It is important to remember that this tale is essentially a legend, and many treasure hunters before the Laginas have been unsuccessful in finding it. Joe Rogan himself has expressed curiosity about the show's lack of success, wondering how a team with such massive resources and 10 seasons under their belt still hasn't found anything. There are speculations that the treasure is just a myth after all. While the treasure may be hidden somewhere on Oak Island, the absence of concrete evidence makes it highly unlikely. The highlight, however, is the mere fact that so many people have searched for it, including some famous personalities, only adds to the mystique and allure of the story. If it turns out that the treasure never actually existed, it would make for the ultimate prank in history, with countless treasure hunters digging up holes for no reason at all. Although the treasure has not been uncovered, would you like to know some of the best finds that have been seen on Oak Island? The Knight Templar Coin. The surprising twist unfolded in the 5th episode of Season 2 of The Curse of Oak Island, titled The 90-Foot Stone. It involved a small coin discovered 3 episodes earlier in Return to the Money Pit. Initially believed to be a Maravetti coin, Gary Drayton and his team made a more intriguing discovery upon closer examination. After cleaning the coin, Tony Sampson, a treasure hunter and diver, noticed a unique cross design on one side. This cross resembled the symbol associated with the Knights Templar, a group from the 13th century, known for establishing one of the earliest international banking systems. What started as the discovery of a small Spanish Maravetti coin now seemed like a possible link to a significant Knights Templar treasure hidden somewhere on Oak Island. This finding brought a new twist to the Oak Island story, suggesting a connection to a famous medieval group with a strong financial influence. The idea that the coin might be connected to the Knights Templar added mystery and excitement to the ongoing search for treasure. A Small Lead Cross. Season 5, Episode 10 of The Curse of Oak Island features Gary Drayton and Rick Lagina discovering a mysterious item along the shoreline using metal detectors. This item, identified as a solid lead cross by Gary Drayton, is estimated to date back to the 1200s and the 1600s. Rick Lagina speculates that the cross may connect to the Knights Templar, a medieval order. He draws this conclusion based on the cross design, which triggers memories of carvings he observed at a Templar prison in France during a prior episode titled Dan's Breakthrough, Episode 8. Exploring this potential Templar link adds an intriguing dimension to the ongoing investigations on Oak Island. Later, in Episode 12, titled A Key to the Mystery, Templar expert Jerry Glover examines the cross and suggests it might be from the 13th century. He also links it to Templar graffiti from around the same time. The connection to the Knights Templar is explored further in subsequent episodes, including Episode 13, Unhinged, and Episode 15, Steel Trapped. The discovery of the lead cross becomes a big deal, leading to several episodes dedicated to understanding its historical importance. Gary Drayton's estimate gives us a wide range of possible dates, making it even more mysterious and interesting. Rick Lagina's idea that it could be linked to the Knights Templar adds a layer of mystery and history. Jerry Glover's examination narrows down the possible origin of the cross to the 13th century and connects it to Templar graffiti from that time. This strengthens the belief that the artifact might be related to this secretive medieval group. The following episodes, unhinged and steel-trapped, likely continue the investigation into the cross. These episodes may include more examinations and discussions as the team tries to uncover the secrets behind this fascinating artifact. Roman coin. The team wanted to check out a barter token they found in Lot 5. It was close to where Gary discovered a Roman coin earlier. When they dug it up, they were hoping for a coin, but it turned out to be an MA lead barter token, like old money. Even though it wasn't silver or gold, the lead found on Oak Island has helped solve mysteries. A specialist named Emma looked at it and thought it matched minerals found in Iran, near France and Spain. Another scientist, Dr. Chris, tested the lead and found something surprising. The lead in the token was almost the same as in a 14th century cross they found earlier. Both seemed to come from southern France, where the Knights Templar were active long ago. This unexpected connection made the team think the Knights Templar might be linked to Oak Island. They believed that finding something called the Y could give them even more proof and connect all the other discoveries they made. 18th century coins and a name tag. In one episode of The Curse of Oak Island, Season 4, Episode 8, called The Mystery of Samuel Ball, Gary Drayton, and Charles Barkhouse dig around on Samuel Ball's land and find many interesting things. First, they find a dandy button, usually on clothes from the 1700s. Then, they discover a lead ingot used to make musket balls and some King George II coins from the same era. Later, they uncover what might be a metal tag with a name etched on it on the bottom of a pistol. Some people online think it could be Samuel Ball's name. Drayton thinks all these items could be from an old military camp. These discoveries hint at a connection to a military presence, suggesting a story involving camps and activities related to searching for treasure. Finding a lead ingot for making musket balls and coins from King George II's time adds a historical aspect to the story, telling us that Oak Island was busy with activity centuries ago. Gold. During Season 9, Episode 2 of The Curse of Oak Island, titled The Gold Medal, the Oak Island team meticulously examines excavated materials from boring holes in the Money Pit area. Their goal is to uncover a significant discovery that has eluded them since the show's inception in 2014. Their efforts led to the identification of a metal fragment with great promise. Eager to unveil its secrets, the team transports the metal chunk to an archaeology lab, where Dr. Ian Spooner and Laird Niven conduct a thorough analysis. The metal comprises various elements, with a particularly intriguing revelation. Approximately 0.07% of the metal consists of AU, widely recognized as gold. Building on this initial gold discovery, Season 9, Episode 4, titled Spoils Alert, unfolds another compelling metallic find a mere 13.5 feet northeast of the previously identified gold spot. Through meticulous examination, including X-rays and studies, the new metal source is disclosed to contain an even higher gold percentage, 0.2%, surpassing the earlier finding. The confirmation of trace amounts of gold on Oak Island sparks anticipation, fueling the team's determination to delve deeper into the mysteries concealed beneath the island's surface. A metal ring. In the 19th episode of the 7th season of The Curse of Oak Island, titled Lords of the Ring, Gary Drayton and Rick Lagina continue their exploration of the swamp, hoping to unveil submerged secrets. Their efforts yielded a surprising discovery, a metal ring adorned with an intricately designed flower pattern. Excited about their find, the Oak Island team decides to have the detailed metal ring examined by gemologist Charles Luton Brain. To their amazement, Luton Brain identifies the beautifully crafted artifact as potentially a Spanish silver ring. Through his expertise, he estimates that the silver ring likely dates back to before 1730. This conclusion is drawn from analyzing various techniques used to alter the ring's size over time, making it smaller and larger at different historical points. This discovery brings to mind the Spanish Maravedi coin found in the Season 1 finale titled The Find. The Lagina brothers and their team ponder the possibility of stumbling upon more Spanish treasures concealed within the depths of Oak Island. 2 17th century Britannia coins. During the third episode of Season 2 of The Curse of Oak Island, titled The Eight-Pointed Star, treasure hunter Gary Drayton, Rick Lagina, and their team discovered 2 old coins from the 17th century along the shoreline of Oak Island using his metal detector. The coins were buried under rocks and pyrite on the shore. One of the coins had the year 1771 marked on it, showing that it was really old. The finding of these very old coins hinted at Oak Island's interesting history and suggested that different groups might have been involved over the years. Maravidi coin. In the last episode of Season 1 of The Curse of Oak Island, called The Find, a metal detector expert named Steve Zazalik found something cool in a swamp, a coin with the number 8 on it. Later they discovered it was a Spanish 8 Maravedis copper coin, probably from the 17th century. When Season 2 started with the episode Once In, Forever In, they cleaned and looked at the coin more closely. Surprise! They saw the year 1652 engraved on the back. They also found out that the coin had been in the swamp for a very long time, not something put there recently. This was a big deal because it meant they discovered something really old and important, and it was just the beginning of many more discoveries on the show. The team wondered if this simple copper coin was a clue to hidden pirate treasure. It sure looked like the Lagina brothers, the main treasure hunters, were on the right track to finding the legendary buried treasure of Oak Island. This coin, dating back to the 17th century, became key evidence suggesting that valuable treasures might be hidden on the island. The discovery created a lot of excitement and anticipation among the Oak Island team and the people watching the show. Redware. While in search of a fundamental wall that would validate the Depression was a man-made infrastructure predating the 1760s, members of the archaeological team, Jamie Kuba and Fiona Steele, found red earthenware, which is commonly known as redware. Redware, optional to stoneware, was a sort of pottery produced and mostly used all over Europe and North America through the 17th and 18th centuries. This peculiar piece of redware discovered at the location strikes the archaeological team lead as specifically intriguing, for its purple and black glaze appears exceptional. The team lead told Looper's producer Jack Begley that archaeologists see a lot of coarse earthenware, so when they can't recognize the period it belongs to, they immediately wonder if it's earlier. Afterward, Laird Niven describes it as utilitarian pottery that wouldn't have changed much over time. Jack Begley asked how early it might be from, and Niven approximated that it might be from the 1600s, and that may prove that immigrants lived near the area before the money pit was discovered. Rick Lagina was stunned by the discovery. After discovering the exceptional redware at Lot 5, the archaeological team uses a metal detector to rummage the location for other potential artifacts. Not long after, they reveal a smartphone-sized metal artifact enclosed in hard earth, which Marty Lagina suspects could be a metal latch that was sometimes affiliated with a cellar or trapdoor. The team begins to presume enthusiastically that the alleged door to which the artifact belonged might have been concealing the money pit. 17th century coin. In Dan's Breakthrough, Season 5, Episode 8 of The Curse of Oak Island, the Lagina brothers and Gary Drayton return to Lot 16, where they found English coins in a previous episode. They're still searching for hidden treasures. During their exploration, they find a part of a small horseshoe, possibly for a mule or a pony. Next, they discover something really interesting, a piece of ammunition called a grape shot. Grape shots are small iron balls shot from ship cannons. Their third discovery is another small coin, likely from the 17th century, similar to coins on the island. These consistent finds of 17th century artifacts help assemble the mystery of Oak Island. The discoveries suggest that Oak Island had significance in the 17th century. The small horseshoe hints at activities involving mules or ponies, maybe for transporting things. The grape shot, linked to ship cannons, raises questions about Oak Island's role during naval activities or conflicts. Roman pilum. In Season 6's third episode of The Curse of Oak Island, titled Depth Perception, Gary Drayton and Jack Begley join forces with geophysicist Mike West. West brings a specialized metal detector designed to detect items deeper in the ground than Drayton's usual one. While exploring, they unearth intriguing artifacts, including a 17th century spike and a metal hook. However, the highlight of their discoveries is a substantial bolt with an arrow-shaped tip. Gary Drayton believes it could be a crossbow bolt dating back to the 17th century. In the next episode, A Legacy Revealed, they ask an expert named Gabriel Vandervoort to look at the artifact. To their surprise, Vandervoort suggests it might not be a crossbow bolt. Instead, he thinks it could be the top part of a pilum, a spear used by the Romans from around the 1st century BC to the 5th century AD. If this is true, it would be the oldest treasure ever found on Oak Island, going back over 1,000 years. The collaboration between Drayton, Begley, and West brings different skills, and the discoveries challenge what the team thought they knew about Oak Island's history. The possibility that the bolt is a Roman javelin head adds an exciting twist, suggesting a connection to history that spans thousands of years. Thank you for watching. Kindly like and subscribe for more videos like this.